for those who don't know, giving me a
Yes.
brief overview of what the Ark is. What do you all do here? What is it? What's its history?
So the history is huge. The history is that 50 years ago it was founded on Panama City Beach as a youth retreat, a place where kids could come from Georgia, Alabama, all over the Southeast and spend a week here with their church group. Hang out, get to know Jesus, follow the program, whatever the program was of the Ark, listen to great new Christian music at the time, 1972 it started, and go out and witness, 73, I'm stand corrected. And that was what it was about. So, and then it began to grow to what it is today. In 79, they built this facility behind us, 160 bunk beds, housed groups even bigger, more of them. God bless the place. It just continued to grow. And the experiences from all that for the next 30 years, till about 2012, I think, it needed to change its scene. It needed to be reinvented. What did God want to do next? But that first 30, 40 years of, call it the 2x2 era, where they had a house band, it was just precious, and a place of Jesus that filled with young people, filled with testimonies, filled with memories that we heard this weekend just from one of the lead guys that had been here 5 summers in a row, just fell in love with this place. And he said today, he's a 40-year-old guy now, said, "This is who I am. The Ark made me who I am today." And that's just the kind of stuff I've heard all over as we walked through this weekend with these 2x2 reunionists.
All right. And so over the last 50 years, you said it began as a youth retreat.
Correct.
But now it's transformed into something entirely different, it sounds
It
like.
is. So it's pretty exciting. That's when I got involved in 2013, somewhere in there, 14. We got a group together with my pastor. It came on the board, and we had to kind of reinvent it. It wasn't doing as well. Church groups weren't coming here as much. So it was suffering, losing money. There was talk of selling it. And, so what could we do? So we sat down and really came up with a bunch of good people. And God led us to do what we're doing today, which is this beautiful facade you see out front, which was kind of the showpiece, the showplace for the 2x2 band to play, got gutted and turned into what you see today, the Pour Coffee Shop, which was recently rated in the top 100 by Yelp. Can you believe that? That's pretty special. That was all God. So it is now completely just very successful. Sales had doubled, I think, since we started about 7 years ago. And it is continuing to just blow minds in such precious ways. I call it the front door to the Ark. It's the front door to Jesus Christ. You walk in the door, it's beautiful coffee, and you start reading the mission, what we do on the wall in there, and you understand what we are, which is the next phase. The next back of the building is the bunk beds. What do you do with 160 bunk beds? So at the time, transitional housing was not offered at the beach. We had a rescue mission in town, but that wasn't our forte. That's not what we wanted to do. We wanted to appeal to people that were just in need, maybe between a rock and a hard place. I remember one of the first families we helped pulled up in a car. They'd been in for 2 weeks, a mother and a father, husband and wife, with 2 kids. We brought them in, sat them on the couch inside the pour, just getting going, not really sure what we were doing. And I just felt the Holy Spirit say, let's just let them in, no application, which was kind of unheard of today, but we just felt great about them. They all burst into tears. We didn't charge them any rent for 2 weeks while they got themselves on, going with jobs, etc. And that just launched us. So there we go. From that, we've become kind of multi-purpose. We have a single men's dorm, a single women's dorm, and then the family housing directly behind the pour, which is an old motel built in the 50s.
All right, and so this weekend, you all, tell me,
Yep.
before I even ask about, I was going to say, you had people here this weekend who from the beginning of it
Yes.
to now, just how does that transformation make you feel, all the way up to what the Lord has brought it to today?
I've heard so many just wonderful stories, which Rob and I, the guy that helps run the place with my wife and I, we hear every day. Somebody will walk in the pour and say, I was either in the 2x2 band, and their stories are just emotional, just like you'll hear from several today. And it just has transformed my life to be able to take somebody off the street, somebody who's struggling, somebody maybe comes out of rehab, ready to be done with his addictive lifestyle, whatever it was, finds Jesus, turns 180 from his music choices to his life choices to his new job he got. And I see Jesus alive here more than I ever have on a church pew on Sunday, which was my normal routine for many years of my life. but being active, involved, and serving every day in the poor has just transformed my whole family. My daughters work as a baristas here, and my wife helps me run the place. So it's just, testimony. The power of testimony in the name of Jesus is the most powerful thing there is on the earth.
Yeah. Sorry, one moment.
Yeah.
How powerful is it that, you all are local? You said the board of directors is local. People who are coming here aren't traveling from across the country more than likely to get here.
Yes.
How does it feel knowing that this is all just such a tight-knit circle for this particular area, helping where it's needed?
It is. It is locals, kind of helping locals. Like Beach Care Services is another entity at the beach that really does focus on the beach. We're a little broader, Bay County. We have people coming out of the local jails nearby that need help. But it is a kind of a Bay County help area that is a real tremendous thing for the community to have. So not only is the community benefiting from it, the community comes and serves. We've got the next guy you're going to hear from was a volunteer, Rob, who came here to just hang out. I'll let him tell his story. But that's a whole community. Just the people that hang out at the church to help the people. There's about maybe 100 people living on the campus right now, and every one of them has a powerful story. So these people living together at a time in their life when they're just desperate. One girl just got her kids back. She's been without her 4 daughters, all under the age of 12. Just got them back 2 months ago. One of the fun things of being on Front Beach Road with an interview.
I was going to say, that
was a nice car.
I only saw that in my peripheral vision, but that did not seem like a legal speed.
Her name is Selena. She got her kids back. We've heard her testimony. She wouldn't mind telling you her testimony. She's got a great testimony. This has changed her life. She's got her children back. She's sober. Celebrated their first birthdays last week, 2 of them, born within a week apart. And she was just tearful talking to the group. We have a group meeting every Tuesday. She shared that, and it wasn't a dry eye in the place of her not knowing how to handle that. What do I buy? But she got through it with the help of the community. The whole place comes around each other and just loves on each other, which is what Jesus calls us to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about what was happening this weekend.
So this weekend was pretty special. Yeah.
Sure, your music's great, but...
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
This weekend was very special. It was truly a 50-year anniversary of the Ark's beginning. So this is the first one I have been involved in. And the first one I think that's happened at the Ark while we've been here. So 8 years it's been since they've been on this campus. They've had reunions elsewhere. So they were very excited to come here and get on the same stage, be in the same, place. And I just loved that. It was very, very special. The stories were great. They had a concert Saturday night that was streamed live. You can watch it on YouTube. There was just a lot of great storytelling, testimony, tears, and I just know it'll happen again sooner. And we pray it does. It was a big benefit to us spiritually as a group that runs the Ark today in its new form, thus the, tearing off the old skin of the boat and reissuing the new look down the road, which we're still determining what that'll be like. But it's kind of a transition from its old self to its new self, as God has a way of doing with all of us,
Right. And so that's sort of the goal, it seems, with this total transformation of the outside.
Yes.
It's just a new beginning almost.
It is. The insides are totally different. You can ask some of the 2x2ers that are here. It has truly been transformed with lots of architect help, lots of volunteers, lots of money, construction companies, from just lots of input from volunteers really coming in, stepping up and building in the things that it needed. It'd been neglected over the years of just not doing as well as it could, which any building will go through, any mission will go through. So doing this is the last old part of the Ark. This has gotten some use, it's gotten wet, it's rotten in some places, so we're taking off the old skin and we're debating whether the new skin goes on back like a boat or something else. So that's still to be determined by others other than me. But we're excited about the new beginning of the facade of the Ark, call it. We've got a new sign, we're excited about that. So lots of new things.
Great. Yes. And so, I I'd say this is definitely a statement of metamorphosis.
Yes.
For this, this community statement piece here.
It very much is. Great word for it. It is a transformation, a transition into something new, which is all about Jesus. Jesus does that with everybody he touches that comes through that door, whether they're believers or not. And it is, because it's just the rawest base of who we are is loving our neighbor. It's in us. It's written on our hearts. And this is from feeding them with a Lisa meal, which is a story to itself. A Lisa meal is a homeless meal we serve here to anybody that walks in the door, to a bus ticket, to whatever persons we're helping that are needed. It's just a joy. The baristas get to experience kind of serving on the front line of a mission. So it's just priceless.
Absolutely. And so who, just taking a step back and again looking at this weekend, who was here, who got involved?
I'll name the guy that led it, I think, in the biggest sense is Ron Mashburn. He's a local guy, he's on the board.
Okay.
He was one of the original 2x2. I think he was 18 years old. 1977. So he came on board as this was getting built. And I'll send you a picture of him at 70. I think he's 72-ish, something like that.
Okay.
He's in the rafters right behind me, pulling the skin off the boat. So he's fearless, tireless, plays the guitar pretty good, and a piano pretty good. He's just awesome. So he's been I'll call the heartbeat, the pump that got this thing started and going. And then it took off from that. All it took was a little bit of him, but he really did put a lot of tireless effort into it. And he's a joy to watch putting this thing together. So hats off to him. He did a great job.
So, one moment.
Oh, there we go. One more.
But so it wasn't just people who are here, staying here currently here this weekend, celebrating its 50th.
It is not, right. It's the customers walking the door from all over the Panama City tourist area. New Orleans, as you mentioned before, to Georgia, Atlanta. This is Atlanta's beach. We do have a ton of people coming in and just witnessing it, got to see this. The concert had a few tourists in it. So it was a fun thing to put on just in general for the staff. Rob and Liz and I and all the staff that kind of helped run this place, volunteers, were just enthralled hearing stories we've never heard. I didn't know they did 2 shows a night, 6 days a week. 8 and 10 o'clock. That's a lot of work. Put on 2 shows a night in this facility. Then just the emotional stories, the change and life transformation that so many of them went through, spending time here with Jesus and their buddies.
Right, now looking towards, again, just a brief overview of who you all help. Is there any specific, if somebody does need help, if they see this
Sure.
and they're thinking, I think this could be a place for me or somebody I know or a loved one, are there any requirements, restrictions? Do they have to be religious? Anything like that?
Right. Absolutely no requirements required. Come in with a willing heart, an open heart, to love and serve people in need. That's all you need. Time, talent, any treasure you got, bring it on. God can use anything, anybody, whether it's somebody's coming in to mentor a kid. Mentor meaning talk to them, spend some time, hear their story, get to know what their issues are. Can they give them a ride to work for a week or 2 while they figure out the trolley system? We had somebody donate a car 2 weeks ago, and we gave that last week to one of our single dads raising his 3 kids, and just overjoyed. So cars can be donated. People walk in and donate checks all the time. We use that to help people with first and last month's rent. But really, the presence and of people coming in here from outside that can show people inside the Ark how to live a joyous life in Jesus is what we love. A joyous life sober is what we're after with them. You cannot, you're not going to hear from anybody, mentor or Jesus, if you're in the abuse cycle of addiction. You're right. You got to get that clean. So we work on that. And after they're there, seeing people in life that are clean and sober, successful. We have one volunteer guy named Alex. He's great. He's got a little business going. He comes by here and picks up guys every now and then and takes them and pays them for a couple of days of work, gets to know them, gives them his testimony. They get to know Alex. Alex gets to know them. They form a bond. He's just precious. He's well liked in the dorm. People love to go work with Alex. And same thing in the women's dorm. There's women that show up and help and mentor and share, their hearts with them.
Right. So it's really just community.
Yes.
Anybody out there, if they're thinking, well, I'm really good at math, I could go and help some kids with their math
Yes.
homework or anything like that. They can just show up, contact you. What is the best way to contact you all if somebody's interested in learning more about
Come to the port. Come have a cup of coffee. It's always better to do a face-to-face interview. We love that. Phone calls are great. We'll take a phone call and get you introduced. But come by. Say
So
hello,
they could
read
just
the
come
mission.
by and go to the bar, order a coffee, and say, "Hey, I want to
Yes.
talk to whoever's in charge of the Ark."
Yep, I want to talk to somebody about volunteering, or I want to,
Right.
I got something I'd like to donate. I got some furniture, I got some clothing.
Okay.
All of that just comes through the
Perfect.
front door of the poor.
All right, wonderful. So I'll just be sure to put that on our website.
That's great.
If you're interested in,
Yes.
learning more or what you can do to get involved, just stop by, have a coffee.
That's right. We'd love to talk to you.
Right. And so it sounds like you also sort of have a unique perspective on being here. What drew you to the Ark? Why are you here?
Why I'm here is it was a calling. I actually was moving down here about 3 years ago. Been visiting here the beach since the 70s, and something prior to about 8 months before kept thinking, go by the Noah's Ark bookstore, see if it's still there. And when I moved down here, I pulled up, went into church on Easter Sunday, walked in, and realized I was at home. I was supposed to be here, and so then I started continuing to go to church. Asked if I could volunteer in any capacity. They accepted that offer immediately, since the whole ministry is pretty much almost all ran by volunteers, and then it just kind of evolved into something more.
All right. And so what is it like, working and being here at the Ark, being so involved in your experience?
My experience, my other job by trade is engineering for a telecommunication company, so I've been in management for a while, and I've realized that taking on this responsibility and this role is well more purposeful. It's also way more work than my other job, and but it's rewarding. There's no other way to describe it. It's just every day is different. Every time you think you've seen it all, you haven't seen nothing.
Right. That sounds, I wouldn't know from personal experience, but I can only imagine how true that is. And speaking of seeing everything, what have you seen while you've been here? Have you seen any transformations, anything like that? Have you seen what the true purpose of the Ark is since you've been here?
Absolutely. I know that we all rely on faith, and that's the biggest goal there. And we all lean on disciples making disciples. We try to learn, teach, and one of the greatest things is that we find is sometimes just listening to people that are down on their luck or just needing something is healing in itself. And watching people like Mike Bennett was saying earlier is sometimes we offer what they need, not what they want and what they came for. We had a young lady that came about a year ago, and she has 5 kids, and she just needed some help to get a hotel room for about a week, and we didn't offer that. We offered her to come in here and just see what we had here and stay in a room, a real small cramped room with her 5 kids. She ended up staying quite a while herself, and some of her children got baptized here, and she's part of our congregation now, and that's transformation that I couldn't even put into words.
All right. And so you've seen these transformations. You've seen the impact this place has.
Absolutely. We work closely with we network with other organizations, the drug rehabs, the prisons, and when people are getting out of jail, and just people living in the woods. And as we network with them, we know that some are on the first try and some are on their 30th try, but we try something different. And you never know if that next time is going to be that successful one that sticks. And more often than not, we send people on the way and not completely rehabilitated or whatnot, but we did make with some small contribution to change their life. And I sleep good at night knowing that the Lord put us here for a reason, and that everyone leaves here better off than when they showed up.
Absolutely. Sorry, constantly paranoid that I'm not recording always. But now looking towards, or at least at this past weekend, it's the 50th. There's a complete rejuvenation going on. How does it feel to be involved in that?
It's ecstatic. Like I said, I've been visiting down here since the 70s, and I tell everybody all the time, I think I even told you earlier, that I remind people that people all over this country save up all year to come visit here for a week. And we live in a beautiful place, and I remember those days, and this is my favorite place in the world because I've always enjoyed coming down here and seeing the people and the nostalgic bringing that they brought, and just knowing that it's been around that long. And we're just carrying the baton. They're passing it off, and we're carrying it, and I get to be just a little small speck in that big thing that God's put here for.
Definitely. And now looking towards the future, how do you feel knowing, that the Ark is still here and it will likely be here for much longer? How does it feel being involved in that, and then also just looking towards whatever the future may hold?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's you have to have a no quit attitude, and for the future, we go day by day. I mean, it really is built on faith. It goes on faith. We remind each other almost weekly and daily that we have to rely on faith. And just in the small, short time I've been here, I've seen incredible transformation and growth with what's happening. So at this point, I don't even know if I'll be amazed, because I just know it's coming.
Right, absolutely. And is there anything else I haven't asked you about, or anything else that you want people at home watching this to know?
Some people think that we get called a homeless shelter often, and we're not. The men and women that come here, they have to work. They have to have a 40-hour-a-week job. We hold them accountable to that. It's got to be drug and alcohol free. We hold them accountable to that, and they hold each other accountable. And the funny thing is once we admit them in, and we call it intake, they actually embrace each other. They help each other. So we don't like the word they're homeless here, because they do have a home once they're living here, a residence here, and that's a big thing that I'd like people to know, that it's not just homeless shelter here. It's bigger than that.
Well, that's definitely a powerful statement, and I'll be sure to convey that information so everyone knows. But
Thank you so much.
As we were just talking about off camera, you were here previously as a member, and now you come back. Would you mind just telling me a brief little snippet about your experience here, especially now that we're celebrating 50 years of it?
Yeah, my experience here was a life-changing experience, and I don't say that lightly. Being part of the house band here and the community totally changed me. It advanced me musically, but also made me realize that I was accepted, that I was part of something bigger than me, and we were doing outreach with a lot of youth groups would come from churches, would come and stay here at the Ark, and then they would participate in service projects around the campus, but also around the city. And we would do beach ministry in the afternoon, invite people in for the free concerts. We did 2 free concerts a night at 8 o'clock and at 10. So.
All right. Well, that's definitely exciting. You get to explore your passions. You said musically. Mm-hmm. That sounds amazing. And then also learning about community and really getting involved.
Because we were college students. We auditioned as college students and came down for that. Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, that's beautiful. And so you were here as a volunteer. You were staying here.
I lived here. I lived up on top, which isn't there because there was a fire a few years ago, and it actually looked like an Ark. And we lived up top. There were quarters for the band members up there with a kitchen and everything that we needed to live. So.
Right. And so, as somebody who lived here previously, and you said you come back now occasionally?
Yes, I've come back. In fact, I used to come back every year with my children because it meant so much to me. I wanted them to know what it was like, and we would come back and listen to the then house bands, which were a lot younger than me now, but through the years we would try to come every couple of summers or so and stay here on the premises, and then I've come to every reunion we've had just because it's family. It is, to connect with these people is just it's a lifetime thing. It's a lifetime connection that we have, not because we made music together, and not just because we lived together, but because of the reason we were together, which was to share on the beach the good news that we had found and we wanted others to find. So.
Definitely. And so what does coming back and making even more of these lifetime connections mean to you?
This weekend was so special because I got to stay actually in the women's dorm with the women who are here in the program, and we got to spend a lot of time talking and sharing and them telling me their story and them very patiently listening to this old lady's story, you know, and there are so many similarities about our journeys. Journeys are the same, and no matter what time frame you're living in, and hurts are the same, but God's healing is the same, and I feel like I'm part of their community now. I really, really do, and I feel like I've gained new members of my ARC family from this weekend and told them so. I feel like I have met new brothers and sisters. So,
what got you involved?
Yeah, I kind of just felt called here by God, and so I kind of prayed that this would be an open door for me, an opportunity, and just I was really looking for a community and a church family.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. And so I came here just looking for a place that felt really warm and where I could find that church family and also a job. So I've been here for about 2 years, and yeah, I really felt like I found my family and then just a job doing what I love, which is a barista and making coffee.
All right, and so this is like a win-win situation because you're in there and you're doing something that's fulfilling to you, but then also helping others in return.
Yeah, I've loved doing that, and everything that we do here in the coffee shop is like the forefront to what's behind it, which is the ARC and just serving the community there and helping the homeless.
All right, and so how does it feel being involved in such a powerful mission like this?
It's really cool, especially to be the face of it, because you're what everyone sees, whether it's the customer that comes in that's supporting the mission, or you're the person that maybe somebody off the street is seeing for the first time. So we're the ones to give them a meal, to give them an application, and kind of introduce them to what we do here.
Right, and how you said you've been here for 2 years. Has it been powerful at all? Have you seen any of these transitions, anything like that?
Yeah, it's actually changed my life. I came here single, and like I said, I got married, and I married actually a resident that was living here, so he came off the streets, and it was just cool to see us both grow closer to God and change our lives and then come together. So something more was kind of birthed out of this place for both of us.